In my last update, I indicated that we're looking to start SIM registration on the 1st of July. The NCA has implemented the overhaul of the entire SIM registration in and structured it into 3 key phases. Phase 1 will be the biometric validation and data cleanup. Phase 2 is going to be the controlled new registrations, and phase 3 will be business SIM verification and deactivation of non-compliant records. I'm minded by the fact that the last time an LI was put together for the registration of SIM cards was sometime in 2010. And that LI is no longer fit for purpose. And so the NCA and the Ministry are working together to submit a new LI to guide the SIM registration process. I want everything we do at the Ministry to be backed by law. And so we will go back to Parliament, lay the LI, and once it is matured, we will then roll out the SIM registration. But rest assured, this SIM registration will be like none you've ever seen. There will be no queues, there will be no loss of man hours. You would do it electronically, you'd get the message, and that's the work that the NCA is currently doing. It's about 80% complete in terms of the biometric data cleanup, because we hold a lot of biometric data, and so there is no need for you to come back and resubmit that data. If we can access that data, clean it, and match it with you. And so a lot of work is going on in there, and I'm sure that before the end of Q3, we'll be in a position to officially announce the public start of the SIM registration. SIM registration, we're doing a central equipment identity register. Now, this initiative is being implemented to monitor, identify, and block stolen and counterfeit devices to disincentivize device theft. The system will have secure API and web interfaces for integration with the SIM registration systems of the telcos, GRA's custom systems, and the NCA's type approval and dealership registry. Implementation is currently ongoing, and that will tie hand in hand in synchronization with the SIM registration. On activity, what we call ECOWAS roaming, Ghana's bilateral roaming service is now live with Côte d'Ivoire, Togo, and Benin. What this means is if you were to travel from Ghana to Côte d'Ivoire or to Togo and Benin, you would pay the rates that the locals in that country pay. So you're not going to be paying like a huge roaming cost, because there's a lot of traffic between Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire, Ghana and Togo, and Ghana and Benin. Testing is ongoing with the Gambia. It's complete actually with the Gambia, and we're in advanced talk with Nigeria to go live before the end of 2025. This initiative will lower roaming costs and boost regional integration. On telecom emergencies and licensing frameworks, the National Telecommunications Emergency Plan is complete. It will ensure that emergency communications for responders work even when commercial networks fail. We're doing new and revised licenses in development for communication managed services, internet exchange points, submarine carriers, and communication dealerships. And on the internet exchange points, it's extremely important that Ghana continues to attract a lot more internet exchange points, because when people talk about how fast their data goes, because it's one thing as giving more data, it's another thing about how fast the internet or the data bundles are used up. If you have more internet exchange points locally, what happens is when you make the request to view a web page or access an internet resource, the travel distance is shorter. So currently, most of our exchange points are sitting in London and in Portugal. So it means that when you try to access it, the travel distance, the amount of data used to go and hit the exchange point in Portugal or London before it comes back to Ghana means that there's more data consumed. If we have internet exchange points locally, the travel time is shorter. And I'm glad to announce that this evening, I'm going to be commissioning the London Internet Exchange Point in Accra. We're opening a new exchange point here in Accra in partnership with Onyx. And the beauty of it is that it's not just going to be placed in Onyx as a primary data center, but it's also going to have backups in digital reality and one other data center. And we're trying to attract, at least before end of year, 2 more internet exchange points so that we can be able to have the exchange points here locally, and the amount of data you need to access internet resources will be drastically reduced. 2, Cybersecurity Authority. The Cybersecurity Authority continues to advance Ghana's cybersecurity agenda through regulatory enforcement, citizen protection, international cooperation, and digital resilience. They have engaged in threat monitoring and protection initiatives. They've worked on cybercrime and incident reporting. They've worked on child online protection and awareness campaigns. Under the child online protection and awareness campaigns, over 55,000 young people have been directly reached with safety education. Preparation is underway as we speak for the 2025 edition of the National Cybersecurity Challenge, which will target 100 senior high schools, and then the annual National Cybersecurity Awareness Month in October will target over 6 million Ghanaians under the theme Building a Safe, Informed, and Accountable Digital Space. Under licensing, regulation, and institutional frameworks, the CSA has registered 326 cybersecurity providers, 1,821 cybersecurity professionals, and 87 cybersecurity establishments. We're operationalizing sectoral sets in energy, health, education, transport, and the military. On international cooperation and global leadership, Ghana, represented by the CSA, co-chairs the ICRC ICT workstream on upholding international humanitarian law alongside Luxembourg, Mexico, and Switzerland. Ghana is now a signatory to the Pall Mall Process Draft Code of Practice for States, and the CSA was selected by the University of Oxford's Global Cybersecurity Capacity Center to pilot its AI cybersecurity readiness metric as a Tier 1 country. Ghana has also actively participated in the Octopus Conference, the Glacis East Steering Committee, and ECOWAS Regional Cybersecurity Coordination Center feasibility study. Now, law enforcement. And I want you to pay very close attention to this, because most people do not realize that the Cybersecurity Authority has a law enforcement mandate. It's one of the key things we have enhanced and will continue to do a lot of work in. The CSA has stepped up its law enforcement mandate in the last 5 months. We have conducted a number of operations in conjunction with the Ghana Police Service and the National Intelligence Bureau. A number of individuals have been surveilled, arrested, and prosecuted successfully for crimes ranging from romance scams, child online sexual abuse material, unauthorized access into financial platforms, investment scams, sextortion, and recruitment fraud. In one instance, the CSA and the Ghana Immigration Service busted a pig butchering fraud hosting center at the Nyamidria Estate in Tema Community 26. Over 400 persons were arrested from 8 different nationalities. In that particular raid, we seized 4,000 mobile phones, 70 laptops, and 5 firearms. Tells you the level of crime that's ongoing in the country. Barely 3 weeks ago, the CSA, in another operation with the Ghana Police Service, busted a sophisticated recruitment fraud ring. After weeks of detailed surveillance, an operation was carried out with the Ghana Police Service in Sodakope, leading to the arrest of 11 suspects, including the gang leader of the group. The gang had extensive capabilities, including forging national identity documents. They're in the cooler now, thanks to the work of the CSA. The CSA has also been on the forefront of clamping down on illegal financial flows and transfer of illicit funds through multi-agency corporations. Within days of my appointment as minister, we received requests from the FBI for assistance to locate and assist in the apprehension of 5 persons of interest who were alleged to be involved in cyber-related crimes with proceeds in excess of $105 million. The CSA team meticulously identified the individuals using tools at our disposal and conducted weeks of surveillance, building critical evidence material for law enforcement to utilize in the extradition and prosecution processes. As of today, 4 of the 5 persons have been successfully apprehended, 3 have been extradited, and 1 is about to be extradited to the US by Interpol and the AG's office. We make a solemn pledge to make Ghana an uncomfortable place for persons engaged in acts that tarnish the global reputation of our nation. We have a number of active operations underway, and we will brief the nation once we complete same and arrests have been effected. It's one of the key things in our conversation with PayPal, the rising level of cyber fraud in our country and the illicit flow of funds. And working with the CSA, we'll clamp down on every one of them and hand them over to law enforcement